My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough.
This is the Patriots Prayer Podcast. It's a tremendous show, one of the greatest shows in the history of the world.
This is Bryson Gray, and you are watching the Patriots Prayer.
PPN, you're doing the right thing.
On the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you all.
PPN on your bumper.
I'm Tom McDonald. This is the Patriot Prayers Network. Check it out. Lots of good TV. Lots of cool people. Tune in. Keep it locked.
I'm the white boy with the middle fingers in the air, dog. We don't give a what. 100 white boys gonna hold me down anywhere, dog. We think that you suck. My Patriots the craziest. They ain't afraid of breaking fists on faces. If you really wanna taste of this, don't safety tip. The same mistake and spray the clip. I pray you miss, cause if you don't.
Be hurt. Yeah. And I would assume that was why he was there. I want to release.
Can't hear you. So while he's getting that fixed, guys.
Okay, I got it.
There it is.
Okay, whenever you popped it out, it didn't
unmute your mic. Yeah,
because we didn't come out of the intro correct.
There you go.
Okay, well, sorry guys about that little technical difficulties. Welcome back to No Kings on the Hill with Dr. Law, and tonight I've got Eddie Smith with me because my normal co-host is traveling for Christmas. So tonight we're going to get into why everyone is losing their minds over the new Epstein DOJ release today, but also what no one is explaining why this wasn't released last Friday. When the original document dump occurred last Friday, these allegations were not included because the DOJ was still investigating their veracity. That's key because they didn't exclude them to protect anyone. They excluded them because uncorroborated accusations do not belong in official DOJ releases. Today's release doesn't mean they're true. It means the DOJ caved to the left's pressure campaign from Congress and released them with context and appropriate language indicating that they have not currently established them as factual. While I am a supporter of President Trump and I'm not going to claim that allegations are equivalent to guilt, in the United States of America, proof matters. Not just that, but proof beyond a reasonable doubt. We're innocent until proven guilty. And let me be perfectly clear. If anyone, including Trump, were to be found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of such claims, I'd support prison time. But that's why we're here tonight on No Kings on the Hill, is to cut through the narrative and find the truth. And so I'll bring up Eddie and let him get going. And we've got a couple videos and some documents to kind of go through and the letter and everything. And we'll kind of get into the legality of all that and all that stuff.
So I got it.
Bring yourself up on stage. There you
go. There it is. So yeah, I mean, absolutely right. We don't live in a day and age of just lynch him and everybody in the court of public opinion just, rides that wave and the left now thinks they got a huge win. But let's talk about, and we'll go into detail more later, exactly what do they have? What is the evidence? What do we have? What can we prove? These are the questions that we should be asking as Americans, not, hey, his name appears exactly when he said it would. He was on the plane more than they said he was with, exactly who he said he was with, going where he said he was going. So, and then there's a lot of word games by the press that we'll get into, like Donald Trump's name on 30,000 documents. That's not true. It was 30,000 documents, and Donald Trump's name was on a very, very minuscule, less than a point percentage-wise on these documents. And we're going to show those documents to you, and we're going to give you our take on those documents. And we call balls and strikes. It's not about political leanings. It's not about who we support. It's about what's true. At the end of the day, it's what's true. It's not what you want to be true or what you believe to be true or what you think is true, but what is actually true. And then let's expose some of the games that the left plays in the media and show you exactly the difference between real journalism and basically rage baiting. There you go. So we still can't hear you. You're back to not being heard again.
Sorry. Okay. Everybody he's talking about in the public court opinion. All right. Everybody's acting like, oh, we've got him criminally. Well, here's the problem. I looked up the stats earlier while I was doing a TikTok live, and roughly less than 2% of all cases if they even go to trial, if the DA will even prosecute them, ever convict without physical evidence. If you have physical evidence, it's still only 2 to 6% that actually come out in a trial conviction criminally, because even if you can prove physical evidence, then you still have to prove, was it consensual or not?
Look at the case of E. Jean Carroll. They couldn't take it in a criminal court. All these leftists are out there calling him a rapist and all these other things, when in fact she contradicted herself on Anderson Cooper's show live less than 2 weeks after the court case closed, and there was no evidence, no witnesses, no DNA. She couldn't give a real accounting of the facts of what took place. We don't even know that Trump was in that room. And they changed the definition of what would be considered sexual assault prior to the case happening, which could have been misconstrued as me laying my hand on your shoulder. Hey, what's up, Jay? And just putting my hand on your shoulder. And that the way that law now reads, that could be construed as sexual assault.
Well, all this to go with civil. Now, see, here's what people understand is criminal. It's beyond a reasonable doubt. Means you can't have any doubt that the accused committed the crime. Civil, it's a coin flip. If you can, and also the jurors are more likely to rule in favor of the plaintiff about 60% of the time, because the fact is you just have to prove could have had happened. Could they possibly been guilty of it? Not are they, because it's money. It's not, you're not going to prison. You're not taking somebody's life away. You're just taking money from them. So all you got to do is prove that you were in a room together at the same party. And that based on your, he said, she said, can be enough to convict. Because on civil, it's about 60 to 80% conviction rate. But
they're emotional rulings.
It's less than 2.
Emotional rulings. All you got to do is convince the jury that you have some type of an emotional trauma, and all they basically have to do at that point is believe you. You don't have to prove anything. I mean, look at the case of O.J. Simpson. Found not guilty criminally, not liable of the deaths, but then he gets found guilty of causing the deaths in the civil court and gets taken for all of his money for the remainder of his entire life. A lot of people would think that kind of ruling is unfair. I'm sorry. I happen to be among those who believe that is unfair, whether or not it's civil or criminal. If you're criminally not liable, how can you be liable in civil court for the same charge you just got found not guilty for in criminal court? Either you did or you didn't do it. Either you're guilty or you're not guilty of it. I think we definitely need to, as a country, readdress some of these things.
And the civil thing, it's also because if you got to look at the jury's eyes. If they're sitting there trying to decide whether somebody should go to prison for the rest of their life and literally taking somebody's life away, even giving them the death penalty, that's a heavy burden to hold.
Sure
but
is.
If you are just having to say, hey, does this billionaire have to give somebody $250 million, $100 million, or $20 million, or whatever that's pocket change to them for something they might have done? Then you don't have so much of a heavy burden on your shoulder to say, hey, cool, they can afford it. I mean,
and how many people actually hate rich folks because they didn't succeed themselves in life? They don't have as much, or they just feel good taking money from the rich and giving it to the poor. You know, the old Robin Hood syndrome, if you will. And a lot of people have that. A lot of people on the trials have that. We've seen that in the trial with Sussman. We've seen that with Igor Danchenko in the Crossfire Hurricane case. Sussman admitted guilt on the stand. You heard that. I said it, record it, play it back. Sussman admitted guilt on the stand. He was on trial for lying to the FBI. While on the stand, he said he wasn't at the FBI to represent any political operatives or organizations. But he clearly billed Hillary Clinton for the time that he spent going over that dossier at the FBI. And he stated as much. So that was a lie. That's what he was there for. So therefore he admitted guilt. But because he had a jury of people in DC, and one of those jurors happened to be a parent of a kid who was on the same baseball team or something as his own child, he truly didn't have the trial that he would have gotten had they been able to move that trial out of, I don't know, was that DC or New York? It was one of the two.
I can't remember, but I do want to clear up one thing that I keep on hearing people go back to in any lives I've done is Katie Johnson. One, that is not a real name. That is a pseudonym that was used by somebody. and they say, oh, she was deposed. No, that is an interview with an attorney, or it's not an actual deposition that is being done in a court under oath with judicial review, with judicial findings and evidentiary hearings, or any of that. And that case was actually dropped. It was filed in 2016 in California, refiled in New York, and then withdrawn. Now, of course, everybody in public opinion is saying, oh, it was pressure, it was threat of this and that and this and that, but the court never found anything on that. It's all hearsay. So that case is no veracity. Honestly, my personal opinion is Trump wasn't going to settle out of court. And she knew that if it went to evidentiary findings and hearings and all that and went through that, she was going to be guilty for lying under oath.
And what should happen, in your opinion? Now I'm asking you for your opinion. Let's say I take you to court and I'm charging you with rape, right? One of the most disgusting things that a man can possibly be convicted of ever, because it follows you for the remainder of your entire life. Your reputation's gone. Finding a job is hard, whatever. Say a female takes you to court. You get found not guilty, but innocent of all charges. And it comes out obviously she knew she didn't get raped, right? Unless you're just a wackadoo. Shouldn't there be some reciprocity for the person taking you to court and lying on you in court?
Oh, yeah. And I can actually talk about this from a personal experience. I'm not going to give the whole story, but roughly when I was a younger kid, I had an incident where it ended up, and a girl claimed I did something that I didn't do. Thank God that her own cousin, who was there in the room, was in the house that night, actually was with her when she came back to my room after she had left, testified in my behalf. That was the only thing that saved me. My best friend testifying for me, my two best friends testifying for me on my behalf did nothing. But when her own flesh and blood said, no, she's lying to you. She's lying because she doesn't want to get the punishment that her dad's going to give her when he finds out that she's no longer a virgin at the age of whatever. And also because in Texas, there's this stupid law that, okay, so if you have a boy and a girl that are both 14 and they agree to have sex, they are technically both guilty of statutory rape, because a child in Texas cannot consent, is not an age of consent until 15.
15?
Yeah, it's 15 in the state of Texas.
Wow.
That's the age of consent.
They start young in Texas. Like here, it's 16 in Nevada.
So, I'm talking about that's the age that the person can consent with somebody that's like 16 or 17 or.
Oh, not over the.
Within 3 years.
Okay.
Within 3 years.
That makes sense.
Yeah, within 3 years. So if two 14-year-olds do it, then both parents could technically charge the other with statutory rape. And so that's what she was accusing me for. She was claiming that, oh, I didn't do it, Dad, blah, blah, blah. And it's like pretty much she had come back in the room with me. She had told me no. I was like, fine, okay, go ahead and go out. I'm going to sit down. This was back in the old days. I was burning a CD-ROM on Napster, burning the CD on Napster on dial-up.
Do you realize that your head is cut off on YouTube? People are just watching your chest.
Well,
you might want to change the view.
How do I change the view on that?
I'll take care of it. Go ahead. Keep going. I'll take care of it.
But pretty much I told her to go back out there with her. That's fine. I took no as an answer. I was sitting there just burning my Napster CDs and everything. And then
Napster?
Yep. This is back in 90s, early 97, something like that. And so I'm just sitting there on my computer, my own business, and her cousin comes back and goes with her and that goes, hey, she does want to do something. And I'm like, okay. And I looked at her, I'm like, are you sure? And she goes, yeah. I'm like, all right. I made sure I got it. Yes.
She phrased it as in you do want to do something like that? Like,
yeah.
Like you're
I asked, I was like, are you sure you want to do something? And she goes, yes. I'm like, okay.
Who are you, Christian Grey?
No, I was just very careful because I wanted to make sure I couldn't. But the thing is I was getting charged with statutory rape because there was a club. If anybody's from on here is from Dallas, Fort Worth, there used to be a teen club called Venice Beach. Right. And she had told me she was 15 because I knew about the law. So she told me she was 15. I didn't think to ID her because not all 15-year-olds have IDs. And she said she was 15. I'm
going to take you down on YouTube and bring you back up because otherwise people are not going to see the video.
All right.
So we'll be right back up on YouTube, guys. Give us a second.
Well, at least the one YouTube, I think.